Salute, man. Wow, this is a response video to my boy, man. Contender regime, boxing. What it is, what's happening, man. He did a video previously, and he was talking about whether or not Gervonta Tank Davis had more skills than Saul Canelo Alvarez, because, you know, before Gervonta Tank Davis was given all the credit in the world to Canelo Alvarez, saying he was pound for pound. And when Canelo beat Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant, you know, Gervonta Tank Davis said, you know, me and Canelo are the same. I'm paraphrasing. Like, he said something like, Canelo is a 168 version of myself, being Tank. And after Canelo lost, they sort of asked Tank the same question. And he was saying, man, what I was saying is, skill-wise, I even think I even got more skills than Canelo. I think he kind of, you know, edited what he was saying. I think what he was saying was, before, you know, Canelo was going up, moving around in weight and was knocking guys out, I think he was comparing himself to that fashion of Canelo, you know, when he moved up and was knocking out like Mario Barrios. But after he lost, I think he kind of had to, you know, just edify it just a little bit. And he said, as far as meant as skills, I meant as far as skills, I have more skills than Canelo. And Contender regime he made a video, and he was saying whether or not is Gervonta Tank Davis more skilled than Canelo. And I pondered the idea. I've been thinking about it. I wanted to wait and see, in the fashion that that Tank was going to be able to deal with, you know, Rolly Romero. I wanted to see how he was going to deal with him first. I knew he was going to knock him out. I just wanted to see how he was going to do it. I thought he was going to box him, break his body down, wait for him to bring his guard down, and then hit him up top and knock him out. But the way he knocked him out was even more impressive than I thought. Now, he knocked him out the same way Juan Manuel Marquez knocked out Pacquiao. He knocked him out similar to the way Floyd Mayweather knocked out Ricky Hatton. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, because, you know, Canelo didn't make adjustments when he was getting beat by Floyd Money Mayweather. Canelo didn't make the adjustments when he just got beat by what was the dude, Bivol. So, but Bivol was bigger. Mayweather was Mayweather. My thing is it to be who has the more skills? Is it the one that learns all these different techniques and becomes like a jack of all trades but a master of none? Or is a person that really masters his own style? Like, and I look at Gervonta Tank Davis, and I think he's really getting to a point where he's starting to really evolve even more as a fighter. And of course, we look at the Isaac Cruz, one of the guys he didn't knock out. He only hasn't knocked out two guys, but he didn't knock out Isaac Cruz. And I kind of factor in that was a late replacement. He was a shorter guy. He has skills. They say a star was born, yada, yada, yada. But you did see Tank hurt his hand. But you see Tank did make the adjustments and do what he had to do to win that fight, nevertheless. And Canelo couldn't make those adjustments against Bivol. He couldn't make those adjustments against Floyd Money Mayweather. Some say he didn't make adjustments against Islar Elanda. You know what I'm saying? Or even Trout. But I had liked the fact that Canelo, I seen other fighters I seen other fighters that might have had a few more tools or a little bit more skills than Canelo. But it was the fact that Canelo had took and mastered his own style, mastered himself. Like in the Matrix, when the Oracle tells Neo to look at that sign and say, what does that say? And it says, know thyself. It's when you know your abilities and you master your abilities, is that more skillful than just having a whole bunch of skills, but sometimes not knowing how to put everything together to have the performance of your life or victory. And then you look at Canelo, you say he lost twice, but for a minute it was where he was in this groove where he really just couldn't be beat. He was just walking through guys, and finding a way to beat guys that was bigger than him, breaking their bicep, busting their orbital bones, and knocking out guys and things like that. But at the same time, Gervonta Tate Davis is knocking out guys, knocking out bigger guys, knocking out Big Rolly Romero, knocking out Leo Santa Cruz, knocking out Pedraza in dramatic fashion. And then he does have the ability to fight on the back foot. He's more, he has reflex. He has, to answer the question and to keep it short, because I don't want to stretch this video out too long. I was on the fence. I'm still sort of on the fence. I'm going to be honest, but I have to say, right now, I would have to agree with Contender Regime Boxing that Gervonta Tank Davis does have more skills than Saul Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? Now, I still need to see him fight against, the Devin Haney's and the Ryan Garcias, George Camboses's, maybe even Regis Progres's, and hopefully maybe a Josh Taylor. Because I still think that Canelo has fought tougher competition. You know what I'm saying? He took the belt off champions, and you've seen Gervonta Tank Davis. He's a champion, but I think still his toughest fight to this day still probably might have been Isaac Cruz, maybe Mario Barrios. Leo Santa Cruz is tough as well. It's still a tough question in my opinion. I can't say without a shadow of a doubt Gervonta Tank Davis has more skills than Canelo, but I'm not going to argue and debate it. I hear what Contender Regime made some very valid points, and I do agree with them for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Gervonta Tank Davis, if not equal, has a little bit more tools in his tool belt, a little bit more skill set than Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? And if they was the same size, he might possibly be able to box him. Shakur Stevenson said the same thing. Now, I really believe that Shakur Stevenson, if he was the same size, his style of boxing, it will give Canelo fits. But would he still have the same punch resistance? Because I still really haven't seen Shakur Stevenson get hit with a wicked shot yet. I mean, that dude is just so elusive. But damn, that's a hell of a question. Continue Regime Boxing, man. I salute to you, man. Hell of a channel, hell of a platform, great boxing IQ. And he's one of those channels where I hear people say that Errol Spence fans don't know boxing. And I'm like, y'all obviously haven't watched Contender Regime Boxing. Because he's calling for Errol Spence all day long. And I can hear him break down fights skill for skill with the best of them. So salute to you. And like I said, I couldn't answer that question with just a little text message. I had to make a video and really put some thought into it. When you talk about all the skill set that Gervonta Tank Davis has, plus the power, you know what I'm saying, the footwork, the reflexes, the jab, the hooks, the uppercuts, and pull counters, catch and shoots, his ring IQ, things of that nature, and y'all compare him to Canelo, who's a little bit more flat-footed, gets way behind on rounds, but completely has faith in his ability to come back and hit you and hurt you and knock you out. But then you say he didn't make adjustments, or then you see he didn't make adjustments against Bivol, and he did make adjustments against Floyd Money Mayweather, and he did have fits a little bit with Islari Landa. I have to lean towards, right now, I have to say, Gervonta Tank Davis has more skills than Saul Canelo Alvarez. Salute that to you. Bow. I'm gone. Boxing Nocturnal Thoughts. Next video, talk about this Devin Haney versus George the Ferocious Camboses's. Man, I really don't want to do it, but I got to do it. Salute. Peace.